a Friday. It's Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All Studio at the Avenue, downtown Milwaukee. Joshy DiMaggio rolling in right on time on this fine Friday. Hunter Vaughn is back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Big one today. We will play our one-on-one with Mark Murphy, the Packers president and CEO, who is obviously on his way out the door. But first, an NFL draft coming to Green Bay, one of his big initiatives during his time as the CEO and president of the Packers. Josh is making a grimacing face. Did you hurt yourself on your way in?
Paper cut.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Are you bleeding?
No, it's a paper cut I got yesterday that I dinged on the door and then might have popped it a little bit there.
I got lemon juice in a paper cut yesterday.
Oof.
That one was tough. Yeah.
Last place you want lemon juice.
All right, so I guess Hunter takes the cake here on the paper cut story.
Didn't mean to one up you, Josh. It was just it literally happened last night.
You just did it. You said, "Hey, you think you're in pain, pal?"
The paper cut is one of the obviously it's one of the minor annoyances that can really drive you akin to like stubbing the toe, where you're just like, you idiot. But feeling a paper slice into your finger is just the grossest feeling in the world.
It is. I would agree with that.
Because, like, you slide it, and then you just like, oh, well, there we go.
Hangnails are really annoying, too. Not painful, but just, like, it'll drive you crazy all day.
They can be painful if you don't treat them right.
That's true.
A little infection in there, and then you got yourself a whole issue.
You got a little pus coming out of the pinky all of a sudden.
Pus is such a gross word.
It's up there in gross words. Worse than moist, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your least favorite word?
Fester. I don't like that.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. My least favorite word is any word Josh uses on this program that I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of them.
50% of the. Yeah.
I've got a lot of least favorite words that come out of Joshy's mouth. All right, let's start here. Hunter, you mentioned Wednesday you had to leave after the show to go pick your wife up from the airport. Sources tell me you were late.
Yeah, and this was, I need to poll the panel here. So my wife texted me, and she said, yeah, well, she just said 2:09 when I asked what time she was getting in. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, plane lands at the Madison airport at 2:09. That means if I leave the Madison office, it's about a 10 to 15 minute drive. I leave about 2:05, 2:10. Yeah, I can time that up perfectly. Like, we'll be fine. No, it turns out that 2:09 was the time she wanted me at the airport. So she was waiting.
Estimated.
Yeah.
She had estimated her land time and then probably gave herself, 10 minutes from landing.
The baggage claim.
Because, that airport's small. You whip through that sucker.
Yeah.
Small airport.
It might even be just a 5. Like, General Mitchell, you'd say, is probably a 10. Like, once you're down.
Depending on where you're coming from, right? Size of the plane, right? So, like, if you're coming from Atlanta, it might take a little bit longer if you're not in first class. And then if you got to go to baggage claim, I'd say 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. So I have a couple of follow-up questions for you, Hunter. So you showed up about what time, 2:25?
Yeah, I was about 2:25. I mean, I could check the receipts, but that's a solid window. It was about a good 20-minute wait for her.
You say receipts, so that means you didn't just pull up to baggage claim, have her jump in the car and leave. That means you parked and went into the airport.
No, I was texting and driving.
Oh. Way to incriminate yourself there.
Yeah,
I follow.
You know, when you have an upset wife with you that's standing outside the airport with your mother-in-law, you do what you have to do.
That's fair. So, Hunter, your wife does travel a lot, whether it's for leisure or for work. So you are often the chauffeur from the airport, correct?
Yes.
So are you, because my girlfriend also travels quite a bit for work. And we talked about this, I think, on KBN a couple weeks ago. I'm a romantic, baby. I go into the airport.
That's crazy.
I go in, I sit down, I wait. As soon as she comes out of the terminal, we do the old hug and smooch. We go to baggage claim together. We bring her bag to my car, which is in the parking garage. We leave together. I always go into the airport 100% of the time.
It would require somebody being arrested abroad and trapped for months for me to walk in and wait for them to get off of a damn plane. They would have to be suffering from life-altering traumatic scenarios for me to be like, yeah, I should
probably go into the airport.
Yeah, no, there's just no way.
How often does your girlfriend travel without you, Josh?
Often, pretty often, fairly often. She travels for work as well.
Okay, gotcha.
Probably 4 or 5 times a year.
Okay, sure.
And then, her and her girlfriends will. They're famous for a weekend trip.
They're famous for it.
Yes, they love to weasel in a nice 3-day trip, and then So I rarely ever am doing any of the dropping off or picking up. Oftentimes, you can just park there for fairly cheap around the airport, and then you get shuttled back, and next thing you know, you're home.
Okay, interesting. Hunter, you are a romantic. We know this about you.
Yeah,
Obviously,
love my wife.
This time you're not. You're not going in the airport, but typically, are you a go in the airport guy, or are you just a pull up at baggage claim, jump in type of guy?
Pull up at baggage claim because, again, like for those that haven't been in the Dane County Regional Airport, it's
tiny.
Yeah, it's basically just like there's an escalator. So it's like there's no point, and I'm not going to pay for the parking. Plus, Sarah has said she doesn't like that because she's like, no, I just want to get my bags in. I want to get out of the airport. I want to get out of there. So she doesn't want me to like go in and wait for her. But our big thing was like the back and forth of like, I'm like, no, tell me when your plane is going to land. I'll do the math and figure it out for myself. And she's telling me, no, I'm going to tell you when I want you there. You get there when I tell you to be there.
That's fair.
So I don't know what to do.
It seems like a lack of communication thing. I'm Team Hunter here.
The thing is, typically when somebody says, it's usually when are you going to land, and then the other person, in this case Hunter, would do the math themselves.
Why 209?
I would imagine there was a 202 landing, because you can
just say 210.
She probably just said.
So Chef Ed chimes in with a good point, right? Like, Hunter, I'm Team Hunter, totally understandable. Why would she tell you the odd time of 209? That sounds like a flight arrival time.
It does very much.
So I don't think you're in the wrong at all, Hunter.
Yeah, now she may be adopting. I have learned in the weird things that my brain remembers that people are more likely to remember weird times. So, like, you say something like 209 or, like, 137 because your brain, like, it sticks out because it feels weird. People are more likely to forget, like, a 130 or a 215. Yeah.
No, that's garbage. You were told one time to show up to the airport. If you say 210, I don't think you were going to forget.
Yeah.
You think you're more likely to forget 210 than you are 209?
Yes.
You can't be serious.
No, I'm just saying the odds favor that I will remember 209 before 210.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's some sort of psychological reason behind this more so than just I think it's easier to remember. Like when you set an alarm clock, are you a 5s person or are you setting them willy-nilly?
Let me look. It kind of depends on the day.
I'm either...
Today was 6:50, 7 o'clock, 7:10, 7:15.
You're a 4 alarm guy?
I actually woke up before my alarm today, but yeah, typically.
Oh, see, I'm one alarm and I'm up.
Sometimes I'm an 8 alarm guy.
I'm definitely not popping up after I set 2.
So hold on. You guys aren't going into the airport. Do you hold doors for your girlfriend/wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on a walk. Are you taking the street side of the sidewalk?
When we're walking, it's usually with a dog who is navigating his own way.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
See,
I don't know how often we just go for strolls.
I live downtown, so I guess maybe that has something to do with it. We walk a lot of places.
Are you saying you're making yourself chivalrous because you would be the one hit by a car?
Yeah, exactly.
That's such a silly old guy way to think.
Yeah, I'm just always on the left side.
I'll tell you that much. Chivalry's not dead in the Strouf household.
You realize if you're hit, your significant other is most likely also hit.
I do understand that.
Yes.
But it's more.
Come on, Strouf is so strong, he's going to slow the car down.
For the record, it is more of a show thing than an actual execution.
Yeah, you're a show guy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're all about the gesture.
Yeah.
Now
I want to show you without telling you how much I care about you.
No, my brain's got other stuff going on. I'm not spending that much time thinking about it.
Conjuring up big words that drop on me on the show 3 times a week.
Yes, exactly what I'm doing. It's just I understand what you're doing. It feels like what somebody does when they first start to date somebody. So
it never dies.
At this point, you're still carrying it on. If it were now, if my significant other were doing things similar like that to me, I would become annoyed of it.
Okay, so what you got to know? You got to know your person, right?
Yeah. You
Mine is a cornball.
Yes.
She loves the cheesy garbage.
You're also a cornball. It's
true. That's why
corny,
you guys work.
Yeah, it's a corny gathering. You guys are like the fields of Nebraska, just corning out.
You can't be proud of that one.
You guys, it's just that to me. Somebody coming into an airport, if I walked out and saw them, I'd be like,
"What the hell are you
get
doing
in
here?
the car, pull it up. I'll see you in 5."
No, not my style at all.
It's just
She always gets so excited. You know, we picked up a friend too recently. I wrote the friend a sign with her last name on it.
Oh, jeez.
Held that in the airport, just total cornball.
Ugh. That's gross.
You know our friend, Maddie Hayes, who wrote on social media for us.
yeah.
Yeah,
was on a
Maddie
trip a
would
couple
love
months
that,
ago.
though.
I picked her up from the airport. Me and my girlfriend picked her up from the airport, and I was holding a sign that said Hayes on it. Yeah.
I'm more likely to run for elected office in the coming weeks than I am to do anything like that. And I have no interest in being a member of the elected office. There aren't enough things I could say. We don't have enough time left in the day to list the amount of things that I don't want to do but would be more likely to do than a friend make a sign for. I think you went on vacation. Congrats.
Yeah, I missed you. That's just my way of saying I missed you.
I don't know, and maybe this is something I shouldn't be sharing. I don't know how often I ever miss anyone.
Yeah, I should have kept that one to yourself.
It's hard for me to think of a single time I've been like, man, I miss that person.
Really?
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. All the time.
Aside from
I said to somebody yesterday out loud who doesn't know my mother, I said to them, "How do you think my mom's doing?" And they replied with, "Number one, I don't know your mom.
Yeah.
Number two, you should probably ask her."
Yeah.
I said, "That's a good idea." So I called her last night.
Yeah, no, there aside from people who are no longer on Earth, I don't think there's a person living I've thought, man, I miss them. Not a parent, not a family member.
Wait,
Are you
so-
a sociopath?
Mussolini leaves for a week. You're not hitting Thursday, Friday, just being like, it's kind of quiet around here. I kind of wish she was back.
Here.
To be quite honest, it would probably be self-serving if I'd love a home-cooked meal or something that I didn't provide. It most likely wouldn't be. I like to keep to myself. I hope, and I mean, this is probably why my like close friendships have dwindled at this point in my life.
Oh no!
Because I have like 2 close friends who I don't even text. They talk amongst themselves more than they talk to me, and like we've always been a close trio of friends. I don't have any ill thoughts about any of the or people.
So you're saying you're in a group chat with those 2 people?
Yeah,
and they talk to each other.
Yes.
While you just don't respond.
Sometimes, yes. Oftentimes.
So you're just standing in the corner, just like quietly waiting.
Yeah,
That's weird.
I hope they're having fun over there.
Wow. That was good. Okay, let's.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to start missing people as much as you guys think it's a character flaw.
That's a character flaw. I mean, there's some wires that were not lined up correctly. You don't care about anybody. That's what that tells me.
No,
it
because
tells
I'm
me,
excited to see people when I do see them, but there's no longing.
But do you ever say, "Oh, I missed you. How you been?"
It's mostly like, "Hey, it's been a while."
You are not an emotional guy.
Generally not. I don't think so. I think I keep it pretty even keel on a lot of things.
And I've been pretty vocal about this. Like, I'm just wired this way. I'm an emotional dude. I don't cry a lot, but like, I am very forward on the I miss you, I love you. You know, like if I get a beer with one of my buddies, I'll say love you, I'll see you soon.
Put it this way, it's gone to the extent where I have to extend I love yous because I felt like I wasn't doing them. And this isn't relationship based, this is like family based. Where it was like, I probably need to, since I'm not the one who's going to check in and just send a random text, I probably need to be outward and more vocal about, because I understand if someone you haven't talked to in 2 months or a month or so, and then you're like, well, what's our relationship even here? And it's like, no, I like you a lot. I love you. I just haven't felt it necessary to talk to you.
I really want to get to Mark Murphy and everything else we've planned for the show today, but I really want to continue on Joshy's psychology because it is fascinating to me how it seems like, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but it seems like you lack empathy a little bit. Maybe not empathy.
No, that's definitely not it. It's more of the last time I saw somebody and the good feelings I felt about them just maintain. I feel like a lot of times checking in is a self-serving thing.
But here's the thing: it doesn't sound like you're thinking about them, right? Like the feelings may maintain, and you may still feel like, oh, I love that guy, right? But you are not actively thinking about, oh, I hope they're doing well, or I wonder what they've been up to.
No, I'm not interested.
What do you think about?
Stuff that's like readily. Well, I've been thinking about. I can tell you, I've been thinking about finishing the fence that I dug the posts for and cemented in. I think about the stuff that's on the horizon, the things I have to do.
So this fence thing has been about a week-long project now.
It started on Sunday.
Has that occupied a majority of your brain space for the last week?
No, but it has occupied more than you'd think, because I've had to do a lot of the logistics and sending our friend to the hardware store. I've had to coordinate a helper to help hang stuff, and I've also had to help coordinate some of the tools we need for this to happen. So I've spent a lot more time on it, but I think about what I have to do at work the next day. I think about having to do the weekly wager. I think about having to do this weekend the Torilo community cleanup.
Sure. So I guess you mentioned the other day, if you're anything, you're prepared. You're a prepared guy. So are you always thinking about what's next? Are you very maybe a short-term futuristic mindset?
I'm practical and prepared. That's probably what you would describe my behavior as.
I hope people find this as interesting as I do.
Well, so
I realized after your reaction to the I don't miss people that people probably found that strange.
That's incredibly strange.
Yeah. So I'm wondering,
I've never
because
said that out loud, but that's how I felt. Go ahead, sorry.
It's just so Sarah gets on me about this, and I'm realizing this might be a little bit similar. She tells me I don't ask people enough questions about them.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm good about that.
See, I'm not.
I have to like strategically do it.
Like you guys often call me a me guy. I don't think that would be your takeaway if we sat down and had a beer, right? Like here, obviously, I'm going to be a little me because there's a show with my name on it.
Yeah.
But I think in general context, if I'm getting to know somebody, I don't really like talking about myself.
Yeah, I mean, you see the meme all the time where you come home. Your significant other comes home from hanging out with their friends and they ask, how's so-and-so or what's going on there?
Good.
And they just don't know. Because, me and my friends, we will talk about stuff if necessary. And oftentimes I get information dumped on me that's probably oversharing. But maybe it's because my lack of interest that people decide to share. They're like, this is somebody who's not going to use this or share this because he'll probably end up forgetting. I just need to get it out thing. But yeah, I have close friends. I don't know what they do for work. I couldn't name their title nor their company.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess I really couldn't either.
Yeah. Frankly, I'm just not that interested because I think a lot of people have it's a narcissism where they think that they're more interesting and the intricacies of other people's life is interesting, where I just don't find it that way. I don't find most people interesting. I don't find myself all that interesting. I find things I say interesting and opinions, but like I could not care less what you did at work. I could not care less about what you and your family are planning to do. It doesn't matter.
We've spent 20 minutes talking about this. But that is an unbelievable start to a Friday show right there.
It's Friday energy.
Friday energy big time. So what we're going to do, Hunter, we're going to move the order around a little bit. We're going to get to Mark Murphy coming up next. The Packers president and CEO had the opportunity to catch up with him one-on-one earlier in the week. Speaking of a guy with interesting thoughts and opinions.
I just had a thought, and I think it was you that asked me this. Somebody here was going on vacation, and you asked, did you ask where they're going? And I said, nope, couldn't care.
I did ask you that. That was indeed me. I said, yeah, where are they going? Just out of curiosity, right? They're going to Ireland. They're going to London, right? What are they doing?
I still don't know to this day where that person went on vacation.
See, and I feel like if they wanted to tell me, they'll tell me. If they don't want to tell me, like, I'm not going to ask. I don't need to pry.
I often get called nosy. I think I just give a damn. And
I think you're probably in between there, because what does somebody's vacation? What does that mean to you?
I guess I'm okay. My brain's weird too, Joshy. Believe it or not, I like slotting in my head. Oh, I know this person went here in case I ever go there.
Oh yeah.
So I know people that have been to certain areas of the country 4 years ago that probably have already forgotten about that trip. Where if I ever go there, I will go to them. I will go. What did you do in Dallas? What did you do in New Orleans? Right? Like I have a mental Rolodex of where people went on vacation.
Yeah, no, I also think a part of that is I would never ask someone else like what I should do on that.
You know
vacation.
what? You don't go on vacation, do you?
I do.
What's the last vacation you went on?
It's been
a while for me.
When I went to Mexico.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'll be for Mussolini's. Well, it's Chicago, so I don't know how much of a vacation that is.
I'll still count it. Yeah.
But I also have coming up next year another destination wedding. So it's like when I have those things, I don't really plan stuff around it. It's like I got to pay $5,000 to go to Mexico in a year. So what am I going to go to Charleston, South Carolina for?
Before we get to Mark Murphy, I don't know what happened. I was hoping Will was in the control room, but we got to do something about Josh's camera.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes
it did the magic move.
It just resets and zooms all the way out.
Yeah, it's just like...
I see just the top of my head there.
Yeah.
Here, why don't we fire the Mark Murphy? I'll correct the cameras, and we'll be good to go for the rest of the show.
You got it. Here we go. Packers outgoing president. You look like an ant. President and CEO on the way out after the NFL draft as he reaches, is it age 65 or 70, Joshy? 70 for Mark Murphy. July 1st will be his final day on the job as the president and CEO of the Packers. Had the opportunity to get about 5 minutes with him one-on-one earlier in the week during the Packers tailgate tour. Obviously, a ton of charitable efforts and really cool things that the Packers do in the communities that continue to support them, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. Here's my conversation with Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy on Mr. Irrelevant.
Excited to be joined now at the Packers tailgate tour by outgoing president and CEO Mark Murphy. April is here. The tailgate tour is here. Pretty quiet month for you on your farewell tour, Mark, wouldn't you say?
Well, the tailgate tour is always one of my favorite weeks of the year. Just a chance to see plenty of our fans, and I love the interaction with current and former players, particularly to see how the current and former players start off the week. They don't really know each other, and by the end they realize how much they have in common. But obviously, with the draft coming up in I think 16 days now. It's be here before we know it.
Oh, you're counting down the days, are you?
Well, we got a countdown clock. Yeah, and it's funny. It's in our atrium, and it was 300. I remember we put it up 365 days, and time goes fast. But no, we're really excited.
And on the tailgate tour, obviously, it's been an annual tradition for you. You're with the guys. I mean, you're a former player. You guys are all brothers at the end of the day, right? You all played the game, no matter if it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or right now, like some of the guys on the tour. But also, you're impacting local communities. Why is this something that's so important to you in the organization each year?
Well, we're a community-owned team, community-based, and so after winning the Super Bowl, one of our main priorities is to give back to the community. And this is just such a great way, like tonight with the firefighters, their charitable foundation, to be able to support them. Well, and the other thing is, we have such a great fan base, and to be able to go across the state and thank the fans for their support really, really means a lot.
The draft 16 days away, as you mentioned, as we talk here on Tuesday. That was an effort that was really important to you before you were to retire. here we are, right? It's almost here. How much work, can you even sum it up? How much work goes into bringing an event like you and I are wearing on our quarter zips here to our town of Green Bay?
Well, a lot of the work's done up front. It's kind of the, and it goes back. I mean, for years the draft was held in New York and wasn't going to move, and then they decided to move it, and it was in Chicago. Obviously another huge city for 2 years, and it was around that time that we said to the league, Green Bay would be a pretty good place to host a draft, and I think we kept in touch with the league, and I think finally, a couple things helped us. Obviously, the history and tradition of Lambeau, but the development of Titletown. I think Titletown, and then also the Resch Expo. It's kind of like this facility in Green Bay. Having those things really, I think, made it much more feasible to host a draft. But it's going to be phenomenal for not only the Packer organization, but the entire community, including the entire state. And really, really excited about it.
I imagine you're probably not quite to the point of reflecting on your time with the Packers because obviously there's this big event coming up.
Yeah.
Big job indeed. But when you look at you mentioned the Title 10 district and how that's shaped in Ashwaubenon and in Green Bay and all the changes over your time. Do you ever go, is it still pinch me moment for you here as you're near the end of your tenure?
No, not really. I mean, it's really the organization. It's just such a unique organization across all professional sports. And, I was very fortunate Bob Harlan was the president before me and really left the organization in tremendous shape. And, hopefully I'm doing the same for my successor in Ed Policy. I think we're, first and foremost, though, it's winning championships. And it's hard to win in the NFL. But, I think we've won on a consistent basis, but also have done an awful lot of great things in the community.
I've seen rumors online, Mark, of people saying, well, the draft is in Green Bay. There's no way they would trade out of the first round. Right? It's business as usual, even though the draft's outside the stadium, right?
Yes, I have told Brian Gutekunst that if it's the best thing for the Packers to trade out of the first round, go ahead and do it. So, those rumors are not true.
He'll make the football decisions, right?
Yes.
Last thing for you, Mark, and I'm really appreciative of the time. As I mentioned reflection. Is there a way, you hope to be remembered as Packers fans as Ed Policy takes over later this year?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I left the organization better than I found it. I tried, I think the one thing, we don't have an individual owner, and I think Bob was this way and Ed will be. You really need to be accessible and open with people and really be part of the community. And, hopefully that's been the case.
Well, I hope this bus ride isn't too bumpy for you and you're able to get some Z's before the draft coming up in a few weeks. Thanks, Mark.
All right.
There you go, Mark Murphy, President and CEO of the Green Bay Packers here on Mr. Irrelevant. Always interesting to hear his perspective on everything that's going on, right? But whether it's the tailgate tour, the upcoming NFL draft, all the in-betweens, and talked quite a bit there about the transition to Ed Policy here coming up in a few months, which will be great. So appreciative of his time, and hopefully, as I mentioned, I don't know how that guy's going to sleep, right? Like I've talked about my month of April a little bit, I think, on the show, right, between like moving and the NFL draft and everything. I don't know how much I'm going to sleep. What are you smiling at?
This feels.
I'm comparing myself to Mark Murphy.
No, it feels awfully
about you.
interesting to be talking about the intricacies of your day after the conversation that we just had. And
Good point. Good point. This is why you're here, though, right? You're here to hold me accountable.
Yeah.
I realized what I was doing as I was doing it, and I go, wait a minute. I don't think I'm saying what I meant to say.
You're going to be busy. Cool.
Want to help me move next week?
I will, if you need help, yes.
Really?
I plan to golf, but...
Oh, I could. I was just kidding, because I absolutely pegged you for a guy that said, I'm not doing anything like that.
Here's the thing.
Are you a move guy?
Well, I've asked so many people to help me move because I've moved, like, in my life over a dozen times. And mainly, most of them coming within the past, like, 6-7 years of my life. That if anyone asks and genuinely needs help moving, I just say yes, because it feels like cosmically I need to pay back the universe for all the moving. And yeah, I mean, it usually takes like, the one thing I won't do is if somebody's not packed and ready to go, then I'll be like, call me when this is done,
Yep.
and then I'll help you move. But if it's like, hey, grab some boxes, help me with this piece of furniture, yeah, we get it done a couple hours, we'll be good.
It's true.
See, now, Josh, I think you're at the age now, though, too, where you just got to be hiring movers. Once you hit 30, no more asking friends, I think. It's just hire movers. My wife and I did that, never going back to asking friends.
Yeah. The problem is once you, like me, if you move once a year, it's kind of hard to budget $2,000+ of movers every 12 months.
It's not cheap.
And it just
Trust me, I looked into it. It's not cheap.
what ended up happening is I just whittled down the amount of things I own to make it like one trailer worth of stuff that you can move like within an hour. That's generally where I've gotten to now. This next move, we're definitely hiring movers, though, because there's so much stuff between the two of us.
And it's between one of you, and it's not you, I would assume.
Yes,
more so.
correct,
Yeah,
correct,
got it.
yeah. So, yeah, at a certain point, it depends. It's person by person. If you're somebody who's making, and I'm aware of it, like $200,000,
Time out.
I'm not going to help you.
Can we acknowledge we just had the president and CEO of the Green Bay Packers on the show? And moments later, we were discussing at length moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on brand for our show, especially on a Friday. You maybe should have done this on Monday. This feels like this is kind of on you and I. Like, I'm the producer. I should have known better. You should have just been like, you know what? Let's save this for Monday because I know what these shows are.
And a peek behind the curtain quick. I said to Joshy before the show, I said, hey, man, you got anything you want to talk about? Joshy, what was your response?
Nope.
I said, great.
And I did say the Masters.
And then I said, great. Can't wait to co-host with you.
I got a lot to say.
You do. Never a shortage, I've noticed. Yeah.
It's just, when you put a microphone into me, it all comes out. When we're not in front of a microphone, I'm probably not going to say much to you.
Yeah, you can be a little prickly at times.
I think I'm just quiet and you're loud, and those two things seem to butt heads. Not that we butt heads.
We don't.
The opposites of our general standings.
How many times a week do you think you tell me to shh?
It's once every other day, probably, most likely. Because you come in, you're playing tummy sticks upstairs with everyone, having a jolly old time, and I'm down here by my.
Those tummy sticks.
It's not from like old school or something, or one of those. You're playing tummy sticks. It's a movie quote. I do not remember which it's from. But yeah, you come down here like a bat out of hell half the time, and I'm like by myself, usually working, doing something, and then you're like, throw the door open, hey! And it's like, bro, relax,
Joshy.
yeah. I mean, greeting me like that at any point is probably we're gonna start off on a bad foot.
So I looked it up and I got an Urban Dictionary definition, and we're just. I'm not growing any further.
I would read that.
Yeah.
I believe the definition was added after it was used on a movie. I believe it was one of those things that was like a throwaway line that was funny in a movie.
Oh, Jesus.
It's Wedding Crashers.
I just looked up the Urban Dictionary definition, which was a horrible idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, we typically do this on Wednesdays, but we're going to do it on Friday this week because Will Sommers had his baseball update on Wednesday, which might be one of the greatest moments in this show's history. Might be the hardest I've laughed in this show's history. If you missed that, you can find it on Twitter at ESPN Milwaukee or about 40 minutes into Wednesday's show when Will Sommers came here in a full-blown suit and delivered a baseball address over the right shoulder of Josh DiMaggio and made multiple puns. It was very good. Joshy gave an all-time what you need to know about the NFL draft 2 weeks out from the NFL draft. And obviously Tucker Kraft joined us on Wednesday. So we didn't really have time to get to One Word Wednesday. We were going to play a little One Word Friday. Hunter's got a list of topics, phrases, things that are on his mind. Joshy and I will reply with one word, sometimes more, as we fly through some of the news of the week here on this One Word Friday. Hunter, go ahead.
The Milwaukee Bucks clinched the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference last night.
Optimistic is my word. I feel good about this team. Now, I don't know if they're going to get Dame back, but to see what KPJ has been able to do, I think he's scored 20-plus in the last 5 games for Milwaukee. Gary Trent Jr., obviously, having a really nice season for this team when he's been healthy. And Giannis is just doing Giannis stuff the last couple of weeks. So I feel optimistic going into that first round, and hopefully at some point in that first round you get Damian Lillard back. And if these Bucks are healthy, I still feel really good about the team they have on the court. Now, does that make them the favorite in the East? Probably not. But optimistic would be my word here, despite having to go on the road for 4 of those 7 games.
You're waiting for me.
I am. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you summed it up pretty well. If I were to say one word, it's just Dame. When's Dame going to come back? How is he going to be? And how is he going to be able to play? I think the injection of Bobby's been great. KPJ's been impressive. But it's all Dame to me. I believe they're in a situation they have to win one of the next 2 to guarantee this 5 seed. Is that correct? Where they can slide to the 6 if they do end up getting swept?
Oh, see,
No, I think they're locked in now.
Yeah, I assumed with the Pacers
I read a Justin
win.
Garcia tweet.
My assumption was with the Pacers win, because I believe it's
Gotcha.
a 3-game lead. And then I thought with their
they have
win.
a 2-game lead on the Pistons, so they may be able to slide. You might be right about that.
Okay. Yeah, if they get swept by the Pistons these
Both
last
games
2.
are against
Okay.
the Pistons. Yeah.
They'll win one of
there
those
you
2
go.
games. That's how confident I am,
You'd
so
hope
I'm
so.
just giving them the 5.
They've clinched it.
Yeah, they'll win one of the 2. Second one here, Bryce Terang went 0 for 5 with a strikeout in the loss yesterday.
Joshy?
Tired from hitting bombs. 440 footers.
And Ryan Braun's gloves from 2011 as well on that 444.
I've been trying to figure out that. Why was it that?
I have a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, it's. I like. A glove's a glove to me, sort of. What's the significance, and why did Ryan Braun have to send him his? Like, was there something he was looking for, and Ryan Braun said, "Oh, I actually have a specific pair"?
I just hope he's not cheating. Because let's remember what 2011 was for Ryan Braun.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, do I think there's many baseball players on all teams cheating? Yes.
I do as well.
Do I think most professional athletes are cheating in ways that we would probably not want to know? Yes.
Most professional athletes?
I think there's a lot that goes, especially in football. Football, they kind of hide that thing unless you're Laurent Landry and you turn into like a bodybuilder. I wonder what happened and how Clay Matthews added 100 pounds of muscle. I wonder how that happened.
Well, he will be at the draft in Green Bay, so hopefully we get the opportunity to chat with him.
Yeah, how did you do that, Clay? How did you become a superhuman seemingly like in a year?
Just the
just worked
weightlifting
out
program
really
at USC. Come on,
Yeah.
man. The
USC,
Texas
I think Carroll
Rangers.
had them on another level.
The Texas Rangers are in first place in the AL West at 9-4, but they have a -8 run differential. The Cincinnati Reds are in last place in the NL Central with a +2 run differential.
Runs?
That's your one word?
Math?
Early. This stuff generally corrects itself as the season goes on. I feel like especially early and then late again in the season is where you have these wildly swinging runs, like differential and score. There are some teams like the Brewers, aside from last year, the Brewers felt like they always had a negative run differential, and their record was better than like what it said.
Well, looking at the Rangers, right? Like as Hunter mentioned, they're 9-4. In their 4 losses, they lost 5-2, 14-3, 7-0, and 10-6.
Yeah, if you're gonna lose, do it big.
That's what they've done.
The Wisconsin Badgers Spring Showcase is next Saturday at Camp Randall.
Breaking news.
Didn't know that. Empty. I mean, I went to the launch, what was that, 2 years ago now with Brad Nortman? And it was packed in there. It was snowing on an April Saturday. And, it was packed. I do not anticipate it will have the buzz that the launch did 2 years ago. Therefore, I do not think Camp Randall will be very buzzing on this Saturday for their spring practice.
I mean, there's pretty clear differences in how people felt then to how they feel today.
Their over-under win total for next year is 5.5.
Sounds about right.
Not sweet.
And the over, I believe, would give you plus money.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like the under is the betting favorite.
I think it was the Homer Hour. I heard them going through the schedule and doing the schedule game, sort of, and they were struggling to get to 5.
We did that on Sunday Karma, which is what you may be thinking of.
Nope, because I heard Homer and Gary Ellison talking about
well,
it.
then they must have also.
I was going to say, Homer and Gary Ellerson
Karma.
don't sound like Alex Strouf, Craig Karmazin, or Greg Scalzo. So
That's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair. But
no.
we did just do the schedule game on Sunday. And Craig and Greg were both saying 7 wins easy. I said, no, let's go through the schedule, fellas. They struggled to find 6.
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a tough year. Some college basketball. ESPN ranked the top 50 Final Four games of all time. Checking in at number 12, 1977 semifinal, Marquette 51, Charlotte 49.
Next.
Yep.
Okay. Checking in at number 39, Wisconsin 71, Kentucky 64, the 2015 semifinals.
Oh, that's a snub. That's a great game. That was a great game.
Was the game that good, or was the circumstances of the game bigger?
All of the above.
Because
The circumstances were bigger, yes.
I was on Brady Street for that game in a packed bar. The name is slipping my mind. It might come to me as we go. Here, it's in between. It's the bar across the street from the Nomad.
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever it was, I felt the Badgers, didn't they kind of win wire to wire in that one?
They were down
they were
by
leading a lot.
They
but-
were down with like 6:50 something to go, and then because in it they said they went on a 14-4 run to finish off the
Gotcha.
game.
Yeah.
But they were winning in the first half, I think. And then, I think second half was a little back and forth.
And that was obviously because it was an undefeated Kentucky team at that point that it felt like such a monumentous moment.
It felt like almost like Houston's comeback over Duke, right? Like it felt like in the moment, right? Houston fans were like, holy crap, we just beat the best team in basketball.
Yes.
We're going to win the national championship.
Yes.
And we kind of thought it was a foregone conclusion the Badgers were winning the national championship, and ultimately we know what happened.
They should have.
Checking in at number 16, Kentucky 74, Wisconsin 73 from the 2014 Final Four.
Trayvon Jackson, man. Couldn't get that shot to go.
Yeah, that game has basically been erased from my memory.
It's not a fun one.
No.
Not a fun one. I don't have a word. I don't want to talk about
Sad?
this. Yeah.
Joe Flacco's back with the Browns.
Surprised, actually. I thought he would be a Viking. I thought he would back up J.J. McCarthy. So I was surprised by this. The Browns also with the top, what are they, number 2 overall pick this year? It sounds like they're going to go with Travis Hunter at cornerback because they've now brought in Kenny Pickett. They have Deshaun Watson. They have Joe Flacco. It seems like they are just going to try to throw a bunch of things at the wall and see which one of them sticks at quarterback and pass up this year's quarterback class rather than taking a flyer on a guy like Shedeur Sanders at number 2 overall. So I was a little surprised, but but that's because I thought Flacco would be in Minnesota.
My word is losers.
Also fair.
The team is losers. They're run by losers. They've always been losers.
Just like me.
Michael Malone was fired as the Nuggets head coach as Denver is sitting at the 4 spot in the West.
Yeah, this one was a head scratcher. Is that one word?
Mine is relationships.
They matter.
Because apparently those two were on non-speaking terms.
The GM and...
Yes, the head coach. You can also call it boneheaded or dumb. I think if you've made it this far, you're better off just riding it out and making the changes after the season. Because, I mean, it's still the Nuggets. It's still Jokic. We've seen crazier things happen than, what are they, a 4 or 5 seed? Get to an NBA Finals. Like, that's, to me... and obviously we don't know all the behind-the-scenes stuff here, but it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially with, like... How many games were left when they fired him? Like 4 for them?
4.
Yeah. It's just what's the point? You're not going to have success in the playoffs with the interim head coach.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's very confusing to me. Calvin Booth, the general manager, also going to be let go at the end of the season. It's a trend in the NBA seemingly. You win a title and then 2 years later you're out the door, right? Frank Vogel in L.A. with the Lakers after they won the bubble, he was fired 2 years later. 2019 with the Raptors, Nick Nurse, he was fired 2 years later. Mike Budenholzer with the Bucks was fired 2 years later. And now ultimately Michael Malone in Denver added to that list. Once you win that championship, man, the expectations don't go away. And if things are not going the way that they need to go, your leash is not ultimately lengthened, it seems, in the NBA. Because of that, and to Joshy's point, relationships matter. The reports now coming out that players were miserable under Michael Malone this season. So just strange. But, I was reading a tweet. My favorite NBA player of all time is Russell Westbrook. I was reading a tweet that said, Russell Westbrook is going to destroy the Nuggets when he signed there in the offseason. And I guess that guy feels a little vindicated because they lost a really bad game last week because of Russ. Just not great.
Really, your favorite basketball player of all time?
Yeah.
Huh.
He's young.
Who's yours?
You got to remember Joshy.
Yeah,
so like,
I think less of you because of that.
Who's yours?
I don't know if I've ever thought about my favorite basketball player of all time.
mine's Detlef
That's
Schrempf.
Why?
You know who I loved? Andre
Dude's an incredible
Kirilenko,
shooter.
AK-47.
He was awesome.
Ooh, we're going to talk about guns in the NBAs and what we learned. So
Well, I've got one more for one word here. Tennessee quarterback Nico Imialiova, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He was the quarterback last year. He is so far no-showed spring practice as he is in a NIL contract dispute with the university.
Love it. I love these. It's such a mess to begin with.
We got a holdout?
Yeah. Messy is my word.
An NIL holdout?
We have an NIL holdout. NIL is so messy. And, like last year, the huge story was UNLV started the season 0-3, or excuse me, 3-0. And their quarterback left the team because he wasn't paid what he was promised. Insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him, but crazy work.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And now we have a holdout, maybe the first ever college football holdout here as spring training is underway. So interesting.
Yeah.
That all you got?
That's all I had.
Everybody?
That was 10.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Joshy, any final thoughts on one word before we get to what we learned?
I can't wait to watch golf all weekend.
You a pimento guy?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, pimento's so good.
I'll be having a pimento sandwich at Gabe Neitzel's tomorrow.
So I saw that Stephen Watson, who he co-hosts On the Tee with, our golf show here at ESPN Milwaukee. They've been doing that show together 5 years.
Yep.
They've golfed together 100 times all over the world.
Yep.
And Gabe has never invited Stephen to this party?
Yeah, this seems to be the first time Gabe actually, because the past 4 or 5 years, Gabe and I just usually hang out, and then sometimes people catch wind of it and join us.
Oh, so it's typically just been the two of you.
Last year it was just me, Gabe, and his wife. The year previous, I think one of his other friends might have come over. And then one of the other years, there was like a whole bunch of people there. So it's sort of something that floats out there. And if people text him, what are you doing? He'll invite them. But it seems like he's actually preparing something. I'm making the azalea drink to bring and share with the class. It's just lemonade, grenadine, and vodka.
Just call it the azalea drink. It sounds way more important.
Yeah, it's a nice little pink shade. Have a couple cocktails.
Good for you.
Yeah,
You're in charge of the cocktails. So what are you bringing that in, like a big-ass jug?
We have
He's making
a giant...
boards.
We have a giant beverage dispenser.
Hold on. Before you continue. Hunter, you got to remember our audience is not 18 and in college. Can you explain what a Borg is?
So apparently college kids will get the gallon, they'll rent some out, but a gallon milk jug or whatever, and then they fill it with alcohol, liquid IV, and that. So
and water.
Yeah, and then they think
I believe
that
it's actually the water gallons they buy.
Yeah, they buy a gallon of water, they dump half of it out, or
three-quarters. It's just I was just saying a gallon jug, and I was going to get to it has water in it as well, and they
typically use meal.
Oh, they go the meal route. I've heard liquid IV from some because it's they think that it'll rehydrate them.
Yeah,
I mean it's all the same. Right?
Yeah, it's just basically a concoction of delivering alcohol the least caloric way and the most stomachable way. So water, vodka, flavoring, and then sometimes they do put in a liquid IV or there's all sorts of different.
Here's your final question before we get to what we learned. Joshy, what does BORG stand for?
Blackout Rage Gallon?
Well done.
Yep.
That's correct. Blackout Rage Gallon.
Yeah, not the best thing.
I'm glad I graduated college before that became a thing.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you that much.
I mean, I was in college when you still could have caffeine in like Four Locos.
Oh, the OG Four
And those-
Loco was something else.
Yeah. I saw some people do some damage to their beans on those things.
Both to their body and also their image, like public image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and when I mean body, I mean literally like broken bones. And
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah. They got so out of control, it ended in a trip to the hospital.
So at Stevens Point's campus, the dorms kind of surrounded the football practice fields and soccer practice fields, etc. And they essentially had like deer stands set up there so you could like bring a camera up there and shoot it from a bird's eye angle, right? Kids were climbing those things left and right when I was in college.
Yeah.
And I think they finally started taking them down once somebody fell out of it. Didn't die, but
Yeah, you could hurt yourself.
oh, well, you're gonna break a few bones.
Yeah.
That's not a short fall.
No.
I mean, back in my wild youth, a friend of mine had a farm that we would regularly go to, and I would regularly climb the silo. Like, I don't know what it was. It was just what I would want to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
just
Looking
gotta
back
get the
on that,
height
the fact I
advantage.
didn't die is wild.
Okay. Well, glad we're all here to tell the story, I guess. Wow.
This has been a Friday.
Young people are idiots. I think that's the conclusion here.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people in the audience thinking that of us.
Well, yeah, but that comes with the
Probably
territory.
more you than me, but
I don't know about that, brother.
Well, it's like Young
learned
Sneaker
something-
asking, what kind of question was that? Young, I got to be honest here. I don't know what question you're asking that about.
Yeah, I mean, we've asked a lot of questions today, so I don't know what that's in reference to, but maybe we'll find out at some point. All right, you learn something new every day. We learn something new today. Time now for what we learned. I had the ultimate tease of the show when I said, Josh, we're going to talk about guns in the NBA briefly. You just hang on to that thought. So this whole Ja Morant thing is fascinating to me. So for those of you that are not in the loop, let me try to sum it up briefly. So last year, Ja Morant went on Instagram Live and flashed a gun more than once. It happened more than one time. Ultimately, he was suspended and fined and told, hey, not a great look, considering kids follow you. Shouldn't be flashing guns. So he's suspended, fined, yada, yada. Ja Morant, this year now, multiple times, while celebrating a made three-pointer, has flashed a gun. Right, essentially pointed it at his opponent and pretended to shoot a gun with his fingers. Once again, Ja Morant, fined for doing that. Said, hey, Ja, remember that talk we had last year? You can't do that anymore. Okay, so he got fined last week. The very next day, he did it again. He did it again, the day after he was fined for it. And I assume he was fined again. I don't know that for a fact, but I would assume it was.
the fine escalated.
I would guess so too. So, in order to stop getting fined, Ja Morant has pivoted his celebration style. He has now introduced the pulling the needle and throwing a grenade after hitting a three.
We call it a pin.
What did I say? Needle?
Needle.
Pin? Same thing. And so he was fined $75,000 for pointing a gun after the basket, and now he is doing the grenade thing. And now Morant said after Thursday's shoot-around, yesterday's shoot-around, quote, that's my celebration now until somebody else has a problem with it, and then I'll find another one, end quote. So this is Ja Morant rebelling against the system, saying, you don't want me to play with one weapon? I'll play with another. Fake weapon, of course. I got to be honest, kind of respect it.
We all remember the arrow, shooting the arrow celebration, which I believe for a short time or may still currently be banned in the NFL. I do think there's a chance there's something similar. It's just, you don't need to do this. John Morant seems to find himself in issues he doesn't need to be in a lot.
That's accurate.
And I think instead of trying to buck the system and fight it, you should try and avoid calls from the league office. I think that would be sage advice.
Sage, indeed. I would agree. I would agree with that take. What else we got for what we learned?
I mean, I kind of used up most of mine with one word here today. That's the problem when I do one word. I don't get a lot then
Josh,
for what we learned.
So Hunter's got nothing.
Did we talk about
I
Uber's
just had
lost and
10
found?
things. Don't say I didn't have anything. I gave you 10 things. So stop it. Don't just
Your job is to have 11.
Then one word's going to turn into 11 things. I'm putting all my thoughts onto that. Plus, I had the airport one, which turned into a half-hour conversation about Josh's emotional state and how he doesn't miss people. I have contributed a lot to this show today. I don't appreciate you telling me I need to give more. I have given 110% today.
All right.
Yeah, I think the only one slacking today is you.
Yeah.
What do you got on the Uber lost and found?
The items, I believe Uber does this every single year. They share a list of items, the strange, more peculiar things that were left behind. The list includes, but is not limited to, a live pet turtle,
I was going to guess a live animal.
a chainsaw,
Okay.
10 live lobsters,
What is with the live animals?
a taxidermied rabbit, divorce papers,
Oh, wow.
a 5-gallon bucket of beans, 24 cans of corn, and a bucket of feta cheese. Now, I've once left a phone in an Uber.
Okay.
I've had friends lose phones, wallets, maybe hats or something.
I've left a hat. That's it.
Yeah. But it feels like if I'm going anywhere with my pet turtle, I have no chance of leaving my pet turtle behind.
Yeah. I mean, we both have dogs.
Yeah.
I'd have a hard time leaving my dog
It would
in
be
the car.
very difficult for me to leave my dog behind.
I mean,
The
I do
10
think.
lobsters aren't cheap. So, I imagine that person picked them up and they were going to have them.
Another
for
thing,
dinner.
real quick. 175 hamburger sliders.
Yeah.
How do you just forget 175 burgers?
Right. That's what's impressive to me is when it surpasses, I'm a habitual leave my leftovers behind guy. I'll have them bundled up, ready to go, and then I'll leave the table and forgot I left them there. But when you get to 175 sliders, those are so big and so much, there'd be no chance I forgot that. Because you probably had to open up the trunk and store them in there.
And maybe that's why they forgot them?
Yeah,
but,
because if they had
you would
other stuff in
remember.
the other seats in that, and then they're in a rush, maybe the turtle got thrown in the trunk, and then they're like, "Oh no, the turtle!"
Do you think the turtle happened because the person said, "You're not bringing your pet turtle up into the back here. You have to put that in the trunk."
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with the lobsters. I don't want lobsters
what
sitting riding
scenario-
shotgun.
Hold on, real quick. If you get in an Uber solo, front seat or back seat?
Backseat every
Oh,
time.
backseat.
Yeah.
I've seen
Okay,
Ubers
short
that won't let you unless it's 4 people. Let you go in the front seat.
Probably a good call.
Yeah, just keep the distance.
Keep the distance. I don't know how I feel about letting strangers in my car and them sitting directly behind me, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, you kind of just have to get over that.
You go
Yeah.
passenger side, back seat if you're alone?
Generally, yes.
Me
So
too.
it's easier for them to see and talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, plus
Okay,
they're
this is
pulling
good.
up to the curb. What am I going to do?
Right,
Slide
most
all the
often.
way over? That'd be weird.
I mean, things get wild, especially in the city. If they're across the street, there's traffic, you just run, jump in, you go.
Yeah, you just go.
That happens.
Okay. Well, that will do it for us today. I'm not sure how we did today.
I think I crushed it.
I did a lot. I brought a lot today.
We know how Hunter feels, how he did. Maybe I am the weakest link here today.
You're the anchor, just holding us down.
You're holding our excellence back once again.
Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. It's Mr. Irrelevant. Peace.
Shit.